Before I begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to welcome all of you and just also ask that we just pause for a few moments and remember 9/11. We celebrate the 18th anniversary tomorrow. Regardless of how many years have passed, for a lot of people it seems like yesterday, and yet at the same time it seems like it was a long time ago. We still are sadly suffering the consequences of that action. So it's one of those things that I think, even though it comes around once a year and we focus on it, we probably ought to give it a little bit of thought every day, because we lost a lot of people, and as a result, there have been some really significant things that have happened in this country as the result of that. So we're I think still very lucky to live in this country. The first item on tonight's agenda is the consent agenda. It's a group of items to be acted upon with a single motion and vote. It's designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by council. I will ask if a citizen or a member of council would like to remove any of the items on the consent agenda prior to the vote, and at that time, anybody can speak up and that item will be removed. The items on tonight's consent agenda include approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of August the 27th, 2019, approval of the expenditure vouchers of September the 10th, 2019, approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for Lounge and Lizard, approval of a brew pub liquor license for L&D Development doing business as J. Fargo's, approval of a renewal tavern liquor license for Cortez Conference Center doing business as Destination Grill, and the approval of a special event permit for the Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce to host business after hours at First National Bank to be held on October the 10th. At this time, are there any items on the consent agenda that anybody would like to see removed? In that case, may I have a motion?
Honorable Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the addition of $318.14.
Second.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Lucero.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Betts.
Aye.
Noyes.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Sheik.
Aye. We have a presentation tonight by Miriam Gillow-Wiles, who is the Executive Director for Southwest Colorado Council of Governments, and she's going to be discussing the goals of the group and upcoming projects. So, Miriam, take it away. And you do need to push that mic until the light's green. You can use either one.
Is that one good enough, or do you want me to move to the higher one? Can you hear?
Huh?
It doesn't make, wherever you're most comfortable.
Well, I can see my handwriting here better, which is hard to read anyways. Do we have the presentation? Is it working? If not, we can just run through things.
I don't have it on the computer.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry.
No worries.
They have it on there.
We can go old school.
Yeah.
So I sent over just a few slides of sort of like who, what, where aCOG actually is, and they're not really well known. We're we're a small organization that does a lot, and we are technically a division of local government, but we operate a lot differently than a city or a county does. We don't have a water, wastewater, tax base, law enforcement, things like that most local governments have of some sort. So what we do is we are a knowledge-based organization. We provide support for those organizations, such as yourself and the counties and the other municipalities across the region. We're governed
I'm not sure
by.
we can all hear.
What was that?
Can everybody hear? Yeah, you're either you need to move up or speak up.
All right, is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So aCOG is a regional organization that helps support the entities within its region, like the city of Cortez, the town of Mancos, town of Dolores, Dove Creek. But we are a little different than other local governments. Like I said, I don't know if you heard me, so I might repeat myself. apologies for those that did hear me. We don't have general things that local governments like the city has, like roads and sewers and waters and recycling and things along those lines. But we help provide resources to get those things done for your community. And we are governed by the member jurisdictions. So they make decisions to support the region on behalf of themselves. Currently, Mayor Sheik is the aCOG chair, and she's been a phenomenal chair this year, so, which we really appreciate. The aCOG has 6 sort of areas of programming, if you will. We used to call them goals, but they're really too big to be goals. They're mostly just a word. And that's aging, environment, housing, telecommunications, transportation, and tourism. We work on areas within all of these, but again, you can't just solve aging, right? If we did, we'd all be really rich out here. So we've been working on broadband for the longest amount of time, and the city of Cortez has been involved heavily with that, specifically through Rick Smith and former city managers and mayors. In 2010, the aCOG got a grant, and that's called the SCAN. You've probably heard of that. It helped augment the city's broadband network and provide infrastructure for the city. We've also done a lot of other things, like to help the city opt out of SB 152, so now you can enter into public-private partnerships and lease out that infrastructure. And we're working on regional broadband planning and trying to bring in more fiber to make the city more resilient and have more points of contact. So we also work on things such as recycling, which I know the city has a program on. We actually had the recycling education test pilot here in the city of Cortez at the school districts to make sure that kids out here understand how to recycle and things like that to help support the city's waste stream. We currently have a grant available, or what we're working on, to figure out how to recycle the hard to recycle items like glass or tires, electronics waste, things like that can't go in the landfills and sometimes get tossed out in somebody's back 40 or left on the side of the road that we have to deal with. We will start this in 2020, and the idea behind it is how do we recycle those items and how do we create end markets for them locally that creates jobs. So if we have a glass crusher in the region, we can crush glass, and then we can create an end market for that. So that's some jobs, that's driving, that's things along those lines. So it's both benefiting the city and economic development. We have a whole lot of other things that we do. Like I said, that laundry list of goals. We're currently working with the city and the other member jurisdictions to create a commercial driver's license program to help benefit the local communities, the city, because we have to pay for those costs, and then also how do we help create some economic development and some job skills for folks here. We have a economic development grant from the USDA, and that is to look at how do we utilize existing resources, not just resources, but entrepreneurs. How do we help them grow? How do we give them the support to grow in our communities? As well as how do we utilize technology to bring in people from outside who bring in those wages with them? Instead of having only jobs here, we need to have both. We also have done some transit and transportation planning along with the city, and one of those is a transit route between Cortez to Durango, since there's a lot of movement that direction for workforce and education, as well as a transit planning across the Four Corners area, since most of our services are someplace else. Like healthcare can be in Farmington or in Durango. We have a lot of people that move around for tourism-based things like that. How do we help get everybody around and lessen the congestions on our roads? So, and then one thing that is really important that the region over here has utilized very heavily is we support both the incident management team and the Homeland Security funding for the region. So that helps our law enforcement officers with communication devices, with radios, antennas, making sure that our antennas, if they're hit by lightning, are repaired, or if they are not grounded, grounding them, trainings, things along those lines, so that way our law enforcement and first responders are equipped. So that's some of what the aCOG does. you'll see that there's a couple other sheets in there, and these are just bullet points because nobody wants to read pages of texts. And I highlighted the things in red of the different successes that the COG worked on that the city has participated or benefited from. So there's many years of that through there. And then the other one is very similar, but it's a bit more detail of various projects and programs that we are working on. And then there is also an ROI, which I'm assuming nobody has read because who wants to read boring things like that? But the city's running ROI is 278% with the COG. So we do a lot. We're a pretty small organization, and we really try to help the communities across the region. So I've talked a lot. Are there questions, thoughts, goals, things like that that the council members may have?
One thing that the COG states is that you don't deal with infrastructures, waters, things of that nature. But then on the next one, you list programmatic areas of focus, the environment. One thing Cortez is trying to do is be more water-wise. What kind of things could the COG offer a city like us that wants to be more water conscientious about not only how it's used, but future water issues that might arise?
Yeah, so when I say we don't do infrastructure, I mean, we don't physically have infrastructure.
No, I understand
that. There's a lot of things that the COG could do because it's not just the city of Cortez that needs to think about how do we conserve some water for future issues or cost savings for some of our community members. Things that have been tossed or batted around as an education campaign, just to get people to understand how the water comes from and where it goes. Most of us take that for granted. Additionally, there's been some discussion about how do we help, especially our lower income customers, reduce their water amount, so that helps reduce their total overall cost with low flow shower heads, low flow faucets, things like that, in conjunction with the education campaign. The one nice thing about the COG is that we are really not limited by what we can and cannot do. It's basically if we have something that we want to work on as a board, then we get to figure out how to work on it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have none.
I don't have any.
I would just like to add that I know I brought it up to the council a couple meetings ago that I was going to ask the COG to be our pass-through for the Dola grant, and she was more than willing to do it, but Dola said no, they have to own the property rather than the city. So, but I really appreciate her willingness to step up and try and help us out.
That's our job.
And I would just like to say, I've had the chance to work fairly closely with Miriam over this last year, and I have been able to see firsthand how creative she's been and looking for areas that she could offer assistance to our region. And she's highly motivated. She would like to have, and we're hoping to have the board step up and provide a little bit more guidance, but she's done a really phenomenal job on her own. So I would just like to publicly compliment you for that. So, okay.
Thank you.
Well, drive home safely.
I will do.
All right. Our next presentation is the National Gear Up Week proclamation. Is Ty here? Step up.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak to you this evening. So I work at the Montezuma Cortez High School as the Gear Up Pre-Collegiate Advisor, and in my role I recruit students as freshmen and work with them for their 4 years in high school, advising and mentoring them. And And I thank you for providing this proclamation. I also got one from Governor Polis through the Colorado Department of Higher Education, which is who I work for. And we have plans to celebrate the accomplishments of our students at the high school by creating something called a dream wall, where we're getting the students to write out their aspirations of what they hope to accomplish through high school and possibly in post-secondary life and potentially in their professional lives. And we're going to hang these proclamations on that wall as well, so that we can highlight the support of the community. And in part, why I'm here tonight is to just share the presence of this federal grant in our high school. One of 15 schools in the state that was given this grant. And it's a 7-year grant. It's just entering its 2nd year. So hopefully we'll be able to affect a number of students' lives and really support them. Something that we do a lot of is to support their post-secondary enrollment during high school. So as the kids get into, right now I only have 10th graders and some freshmen, and I'll keep recruiting students. But as those 10th graders turn into 11th graders, they'll be enrolling in a lot more college level classes, and Gear Up does a lot of support for that, as well as partnering with like the PCC classes for people who are going into the trades who are not necessarily university bound. So we try to make sure that we're adaptive to the community that we're in. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of like share that and let everybody know that we're here, and I'm really excited to be a part of this and looking forward to working and mentoring these kids for the next several years. Mr. Keel is slightly familiar with the program, being social studies, but I also wanted to share it with you all. Do you guys have any questions?
How many students do you have enrolled in the program?
Currently, I have 61 students that returned as sophomores, and I'm recruiting 75 freshmen. And I'll do that again for the next 2 years. So it'll serve 4 classes from the class of 2022 to 2025. And it'll stop enrolling students so that it doesn't leave anybody halfway through their high school career. So it'll just take in those 4 classes and then see them all exit high school. So the cohort of students will continue to grow over the next several years. And we'll continue to have National Gear Up Week. So hopefully I can keep sharing our successes.
Well, we would like for you to come back and do that.
Yeah.
The proclamation states that whereas the Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Programs, Gear Up, is a federally funded competitive grant program designed to increase the number of low-income students who are prepared to enter and succeed in post-secondary education, whereas Gear Up serves low-income, minority, and disadvantaged students and their families from underserved communities who might be the first person in their family to go to college, and whereas Gear Up provides 7-year grants to states or partnerships to deliver support and resources to students and their families starting the 9th grade throughout high school and onward to fulfill their dreams of attaining a post-secondary education. And whereas Gear Up includes interventions such as tutoring, mentoring, rigorous academic preparation, financial education, and college scholarships to improve access to higher education for low-income, minority, and disadvantaged first-generation students and their families. And whereas Gear Up is built around public-private partnerships, enlisting the formidable resources of government, business, and community groups to support low-income students as they prepare to enter and succeed in college. And whereas the Colorado Gear Up is a partnership with the Colorado Department of Higher Ed and the Governor's Office, and whereas the week of September the 23rd, 2019, has been declared National Gear Up Week, and whereas Cortez is committed to providing a quality education for all students, helping them to achieve their highest potential, now therefore I, Karen Sheik, Mayor of the City of Cortez, do hereby proclaim the week of September the 23rd, 2019 as National Gear Up Week in the City of Cortez. And I would urge all citizens to join in with me to observe this special occasion.
Thank you.
And do you already have a copy of this, or would you like this?
I'd take that, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming and for the work that you do with kids.
Thanks. Yeah, and I invite anybody to come by the high school and check out the Gear Up wall that we're putting together.
Great.
That'll be on that Monday.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. All right, now is the time for citizen participation.
Good evening. Dave and Lana Waters of DNL Construction, 11576 County Road L, Cortez. And we're here tonight. 24, sorry. I don't even know my own address tonight. We're here tonight to, I think you probably might remember, several months ago, we came and asked for a letter of support for a grant to purchase a crusher over on our County Road L yard through the Colorado Department of Health and Environment for the Recycling Resources Economic Opportunity Grant application. And we have been successful in being awarded those funds, and we would just like to express our gratitude to our community, the city, the county,
School district.
the school district, town of Mancos, and town of Dolores for everyone's support, so that we feel that this will be a really big benefit to our county, so that we can start keeping asphalt and concrete out of the ditches, out of the ravines, and also out of our county landfill that desperately needs that, that room. So we'd just like to thank you
We
very
thank
much.
you for your initiative.
Hopefully, we're
Doing
looking
that.
forward to working with you and recycling all the waste products that come off of your projects too. So,
Glad it worked out for you guys.
Yes.
great. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you for your help.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else that would like to address the council? Okay. In that case, we have no public hearings. We have no unfinished business. Moving on to new business, approval of historic property survey on First Street. Neva.
All right, good evening. The Historic Preservation Board, through city council approval, applied for and received a grant from History Colorado for $16,376. This was to conduct a historic property inventory of 22 properties on First Street as part of the goal to survey all historic properties in the Cortez Original Town Site area. An RFP was sent out and 4 proposals were received. The proposals ranged from $16,250 to $16,376. All bids met the basics of the RFP. And after a lot of discussion between the board members and staff and interviews of all of 4 firms, the board recommends Wood Canyon, a local firm, for $16,376. It is the high bid by $126, but Woods Canyon is local. The quality of their work is known to be high, and they will not have any travel expenses associated with this. The grant will provide 100% cost of the project. The Historic Preservation Board members will provide volunteer time, and there will be some staff time, but we already have staff, assigned to the board, so it's pretty much zero cost to the city. So the Historic Preservation Board and staff do recommend council approve the proposal from Woods Canyon and enter into a contract for the completion of the historic property inventory of 22 properties on First Street.
Hi, are there any questions, council?
I don't have any.
I have none.
In that case, may I have a motion?
I make a motion, Your Honorable Mayor, to approve the proposal from Woods Canyon that the city enter into a contract with Woods Canyon for the completion of an historic property survey of 22 properties on First Street of Cortez, downtown area.
Second.
Noyes?
Aye.
Keel?
Aye.
Betts? Levy?
Aye.
Carlson? Lucero?
Aye.
Sheik?
Aye. Okay. At this time, the appointment to the Historical Preservation Board of Kathleen Russell.
Yes, so since I've been a staff member to the Historic Preservation Board, a member-at-large position has been open, and it is finally ready to be filled by Kathleen Russell. She's the Social Services Director at the Vista Grande Inn in Cortez, and has had a long interest in history. And she also has an interest in providing links between the Vista Grande residents and the community for, local history and some interviews and some of their insights that they have. This council does appoint each member of the Historic Preservation Board, and the board does highly recommend Mrs. Russell for a member-at-large appointment. She'll serve a 3-year term beginning in October of this year.
Great. Any questions, council?
I don't have any.
May I have a motion?
I make a motion that we appoint Kathleen Russell as the at-large member on the Historic Preservation Board.
Second. Betts.
Aye.
Noyes.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Carlson. Aye. Levy.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Sheik.
Aye. And Patricia's happy about that. All right, police patrol vehicle donation. Roy, thanks, Neva.
Evening, Council. We are in the process of retiring one of our old police vehicles. It's a 2009 Ford Crown Vic. Has about 80,000, 85,000 miles on it. We would like to donate this to the Police Academy out to Pueblo Community College for the driving school out there, or for the academy driving class. We've had an excellent relationship with the academy. They've been very good to us by, holding slots open for us and that type of thing. And so, in the past, the State Patrol has donated cars for the driving class. I was trying to think there's somebody on the other side of the mountain donated one. I can't remember who it was. But anyway, we would like to donate this vehicle. The vehicle, the auction of the vehicle would be approximately $1,900. So that's what the city would be out, $1,900 to let them have this vehicle for their training class.
Any questions, council? Concerns?
No concerns.
All right, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Excuse me.
We make a motion that we donate unit number 465 at 2009 Ford Crown Vic patrol vehicle to the Pueblo Community College Police Academy.
Second.
Carlson. Aye. Levy.
Aye.
Noyes.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Betts. Sheik.
Aye.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Roy.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, the 7th Street extension action, Mike.
7th Street is recommended and/or to be decided.
Mike, you're...
Mike.
Recommended or decided to do is to transfer the 7th Street easement to the county in return for them providing a paved street as part of their county road from, I think it's 27 all the way through to the intersection at Sligo. What we'll need to do is have a motion authorizing the mayor to sign whatever documents we put into the ordinance, which we'll bring to you at the next meeting to make the sale or make the transfer happen. This is an exchange. We're getting paved street into Sligo. They're getting the ability to do it, make it part of a county road, so it's a win-win for both sides. It's not a donation or a gift. We're getting something, they're getting something. So staff recommends that there be a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the documents necessary to transfer the right-of-way to Montezuma County. in return for a paved road.
I think it's also important, it's not only a reciprocal, mutual beneficial thing between the city and the county, but also the school district as well, saving everything from, time on the road for bus drivers and from a safety aspect. I think that's something to keep in mind as well. So, a third party involved that benefits.
All right, any other questions, comments?
I don't have any.
May I have a motion, please?
Honorable Mayor, I make a motion for you as mayor to sign required documents at our next, would it be work session?
No, you're going to have a first reading at the next and then a second reading in, I guess it'll be October. And so we'll have the documents done by then. We have to do an ordinance and it takes 2 meetings.
So I'm making a motion to have a first reading?
No, I make a motion, if you would, please, to authorize the mayor to sign the documents that are contained in the ordinance that we will pass to transfer the property.
Okay. So I make a motion for the mayor to sign the documents that'll pertain to the transfer of the property from the city to the county.
Second.
Levy?
Aye.
Keel?
Aye.
Carlson?
Aye.
Lucero?
Aye.
Betts?
Aye.
Noyes?
Aye.
Sheik?
Aye. All right, the Four Corners office building. Mike?
Based on the executive session and the discussion, we'd be asking for a voice motion to authorize the manager and attorney to speak with the realtor to respond to the offer to purchase the office building and the as directed.
I'd make a mayor to authorize the city attorney as well as the city manager to speak to the realtor to be able to respond to the offer submitted for the Four Corners office building located in the industrial park.
Second. Keel?
Aye.
Betts?
Aye.
Levy?
Aye.
Noyes?
Aye.
Lucero?
Aye.
Carlson?
Aye.
Sheik?
Aye. All right, we have no draft resolutions. We have no other items of business at this time. Is there a citizen that would like to address council? You're the only one here that hasn't spoken, so. All right. No?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And state your name and address. And speak into the mic. And stand up straight.
Hi, City Council. I'm Sharon King. My address is 225 North Washington, downtown Cortez. I'm actually here this evening to observe all of you. I haven't gotten a chance to meet the new city manager, and I am considering running for city council. So that is my sole purpose in being here this evening. I was asked by a group of people to do that, and I said, well, I haven't been to city council in a while, so I'll go check out what they've got going on. So that's why I'm here this evening.
Great.
Is that good, Karen?
That's good.
Okay, good.
Good job.
Coffee.
I think that's the first time we've had citizen participation twice at a meeting. Takes a little of me. All right, we have no city attorney's report. Do we have an update from the city manager?
You do. First of all, some clarification. This Thursday, September 12th, at 6:30, from 6:30 to 8, the county commissioners will be using this room for a town hall meeting. It does not mean we need city council members there, but you're more than welcome to come in if you want. But this is for the county commissioners to use our facilities. The other thing I had is, about 10 minutes ago, I remembered what I forgot to tell you last Friday. And that is the auditor, the forensic auditor will be here next week to begin digging through our books to get us straightened out. So she's only going to be here a couple days and then she's picking up her stuff and going back to Denver, but she'll probably do most of her work remotely. But we are finally moving. The insurance companies and everybody have approved it, so it's a light way at the end of the tunnel, but it's a light.
Well, every little light helps. Anything else, John?
That's it.
Linda?
So I laid in front of you, each of you, the District 9 meeting in Cortez that we're going to host on September 28th. We're going to have the meeting, CML's going to come to City Hall. First, we're going to host a nice little reception after, and then we'll be going to the park for dinner, and Phil Johnson will be our guest speaker. I need to sign everyone up that would like to come, so I'm just reminding you to let me know if you would like to be a part of this District 9 meeting. People come from all over the Southwest. We have all the way to Pagosa Springs to Nashville, to Silverton. So if you guys would like to come, please let me know. And I know that I emailed you on the budget meetings, and we have a couple conflicts for Thursdays. So I'm just checking with you to see.
Linda, wait just a second.
Is it the 25th or the 28th?
It's the 20.
It's the 25th.
It's the 25th.
It's Wednesday, the 25th.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Wednesday, the 25th. We just need to sign everyone up by tomorrow if it's possible. So it should be 4 o'clock is the CML meeting, and then dinner's at 6:30. So I sent you an email on the budget discussions. We've sort of been back and forth on different dates, so I just thought I would just ask while we're all here tonight if it's possible to do November 5th and 6th. We would do back-to-back nights. Yeah.
Do you know what days of the week those are?
Tuesday and Wednesday.
So I just am checking with you. I know we sent you out the 10th as an option, the 29th of October. I'm just we had sent the 5th of November as a second or a third choice. So I'm just asking for you to check to see if the 5th and 6th we could do back-to-back nights. It will go for first reading on the 12th, second reading on the 26th, but we have December, so we can push those dates back too. So some of you responded to me on the 10th of October and the 29th, but we're sort of asking for new dates here.
I'll do the 6th if you bring a gluten-free birthday cake, because that's my birthday.
The 6th is?
The 6th?
Can you do the 5th and 6th?
I
need
can.
to do both nights.
Yeah, I'll do both nights.
So it'll be 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
November.
November 5th
I
and
hear you
6th.
guys down.
So what's on the table is November 5th and 6th, back-to-back. That would be a Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm guessing 5:30-ish on both nights?
5:30 to,
Instead of the October ones?
Yes, ma'am.
correct.
I prefer to just do them right in two days in a row.
Okay.
I can do 5th and 6th.
Sue, how does that look to you?
It looks okay to me.
Okay, so pin in the 5th and 6th for November. We'll have our 2 budget nights, and then we'll start on the hearing, or the first and second reading for our budget. So if you could pin that in, I'll send out a note to all of you again and get it on the calendar, okay?
Great.
Thank you.
I like vanilla.
November.
You like
I'm just kidding. I said if you give me a birthday cake, I like vanilla.
vanilla? I like vanilla too. Also, I have a card that I'd like for each of you to sign for Sarah Coffey. She's the one that's done all the great work on the expenditure vouchers. I know you guys are very pleased with it, and I think it would mean a lot to her for you to sign a card to her to tell her that all her work she's worked really hard to make this different than it used to be.
Good.
So I think that would be nice.
You want to pass it down, so before we.
Even if you
get
just sign it,
signed
huh?
before.
She doesn't know.
Okay, anything else, Linda? Okay. Pardon my- The report from the workshop, we had a pretty full agenda. We spent time talking about a high-impact permit for a cell tower at Denny Lake, and agreed that we didn't have any problems with that. There was some continued discussion, along with some additional questions that we passed on to Peyton with regards to the installation of an EV charging station. We continued our discussion on the extension of 7th Street, which we passed at the council meeting, and then we adjourned to executive session to discuss the purchase and acquisition of real and personal property. I also wanted to just share with staff, I got a card from Sam Proffer, and he wanted me to pass on his thanks to City Council. He stated that I've always said that I was fortunate to have worked for the best city ever, and he was most appreciative of the support and the relationship that he had with council. So he's doing well, and he's getting settled in his new job, so their gain was our loss. Is there anything else for the good of the city?
Yeah, committee reports.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I jumped the gun.
That's all right. Golf Advisory Board met last week. The course is looking incredible. A lot of people were really excited about how the Pinot Bean went. Everything from the golf tournament to the fireworks display was a huge success, not only for the golfing community, but I think for the city at large. I'm pretty sure people heard the fireworks far and wide. So thanks to the golf and everyone involved with that for what they put on. So that tournament, coupled with a lot of the other tournaments that are coming up and that have passed, were successful, good turnouts. The boys golf team, is kind of taking center stage right now as far as the golfing community is concerned around the high school and playing really good golf. And so yeah, it was a positive golf advisory board meeting and good news out there.
Are they still having lots of players out there?
They are, yeah.
Okay.
And one other thing, no word on when the water will be shut off, but that's always kind of up in the air anyway this time of year. So they're hoping at least through October, just like every year, and we'll see.
Well, more days like this. Why? Be in good shape. All right. Has anybody else been to a meeting? I know Mike's been a couple of places.
Not necessarily a meeting, but I was invited by the Community Connections last week to attend their barbecue. It's a multi-county operation, and people from Durango and other areas showed up. There's several hundred people there. They had a barbecue, like I say, and they gave out awards, and I was presented for the City of Cortez. Community Connections is pleased to present the city the 2019 Community Inclusion Award, and it is dated August 28th, 2019. And I'll leave that with Linda. She can put it in our archives. It's a very, very nice group of people, the Community Connections. If you don't know about them, just check out with them. They have a place on Pine Street where the people meet. Their headquarters on First and Harrison, and get to know those people. They're good folk.
Thanks, Mike. Any others? Are you going to talk about this afternoon?
Yeah, you go.
Oh, well. Mike and I went, the USDA, we have two entities in this community that received USDA grants today. Actually, they've already received the grants, but there was recognition today. One was for the Historical Society that got a $6,000+ grant to buy some computers, printer, so that they can have those available when they open their new facility on the corner of Chestnut and May. And then the fire department got a $10,000+ grant to purchase equipment, helmets and boots and clothing, firefighting clothing.
Especially for fighting
wildfires. Yes. And they came down from, I think she was from Colorado Springs, the gal who was director of USDA. So that was an additional close to $17,000 that came into our community, which was really nice. So, all right. Now, is there anything else for the good of the community?